coming down and welcome to the Man of Steel project. I'll try to be as quick as I can, so I don't hold you up for too long. These workshops are really vital, so I have to listen up carefully. What I've found is that if you don't sort of get onto this pretty much straight away, what we talk about now, it could be 2 to 4 weeks or even the whole challenge before you really know what's going on. It's a really complicated program, and it has to be. You can't just turn around the body in 12 weeks by just doing any kind of regular chest day, leg day type program. It's pretty full on. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover the what and whys of the program, then we're going to go into the exercises, how that works, and then the biggest thing of all is the nutrition. The nutrition, even if you don't come a day to the gym and you stick to nutrition, you'll still turn around the body amazingly in 12 weeks. So that's got to be the number one thing. So on that, don't get too, because as guys, you get into the weights, even if you've never done weights or you've been to the gym for years, particularly with these exercises, they're pretty cool. They're like full body Olympic style lifts, and you get into them. And sometimes the diet, the nutrition sort of falls by the wayside. You think, oh, it's just going to sort itself out because I'm doing so many workouts, but it won't. What will happen is that you'll get fitter and you'll get stronger and you'll get stronger, but you may not lose an ounce of body fat or whatever because you're just not following the nutrition. Alright, so let's get started. So the Man of Steel project is based on my competitive bodybuilding history and then everything I've learned since then in the 20 odd years that I've been doing this. What it is basically a body part specialisation phase program, which means that we really hammer one body part over and over and over, and then after 2 weeks we move on to the next body part and we hammer that, and after 2 weeks we move on to the next body part. By specialising in one body part, you get far better results, far quicker than if we do one thing like a chest on one day, and then do legs on one day, and then do back on one day, and then don't do them again for another 7 days. That's alright if you've got 2 or 3 years to build muscle, but it won't work in the short term. So what's going to happen is you do phase 1, which is shoulders for 2 weeks, and then you finish that program, you won't do it again. Then phase 2 back for 2 weeks, then legs for 2 weeks, then chest for 2 weeks, and then that leaves you 4 weeks where we customise the phases. We call it shredding, but it could be anything. It really depends on what your photos look like. It all hinges on the photos. So I might look at your week 9 photos and say, yeah, you need to lose body fat, but then some people might say, no, you don't. You actually really need to work on like the back muscles or the leg muscles or the chest phase or whatever it is. So my goal is just to make sure that your photos from week 1 to week 12 look as amazing as possible. So that all really just comes down to how we manipulate that last 4-week phase. So that's what it is. It's 2 weeks per body part. So just to clear that up, because often the guys will come in and they'll say, where's my my next program in 4 weeks? I go, no, you should have collected it 2 weeks ago or whatever. So this shoulders first phase goes to 2 weeks. Okay, and then you'll come in and you'll pick up your next phase. Or for the guys that are off-site, it'll be already loaded onto your Facebook forum and you'll just print it off of the forum. Okay, so the major guidelines of this project is you've got to have your photos done. Without the photos it just doesn't work. You've got to come to the workshop, or if you don't come to the workshop you've got to watch the video, or if you don't watch the video you've got to talk to me. And you'll probably have to talk to me at some stage one-on-one anyway, regardless. And you have to get onto the Facebook forum, which we'll go over. We'll go over that now. So with the Facebook forum, you should all have got these little slips here, and for the off-site guys, I'll be contacting you directly and telling you how to get onto the forum. The forum is basically where everything happens. So you'll log onto the forum and you'll go on to say you want to see what your first day's workouts are. And so you'll have, for example, if I flip over onto day 1 here, your first workout for day 1 shoulders is top half seated overhead press from pins. So then, well, I've got no idea what that exercise is. So you'll go onto the forum and you'll find that video and you'll watch it 2 or 3 times, or 4 or 5 or 20 times until you're pretty keen on exactly how that exercise works. If you watch the video a few times and you still don't know, then there's always going to be me or the gym manager, Natalie, in here, and we'll be able to help you out directly. Plus there's going to be a lot of guys in here in this round in particular. 50% of the guys have done it before. Either they did it the last round that just passed or a few rounds ago. So there's always going to be someone in here that can help you with the exercises. And you'll generally know who's doing the Man of Steel program because they're doing exercises that aren't like anyone else's in the gym. I think Mark said you're doing it off-site at another gym and it just freaked everyone out because they didn't know what you were doing. Now with these videos, this is really important. So when you come into the gym, you want to look at the video. So I'm doing some exercise over here. That's cool. I just stand on my phone, I watch it, and then I can do it straight away. And you might do a set, that doesn't feel right, and you watch your video again. So it's great. You can look at it and learn as you go along. But there's so much on that forum. That forum's been running for 18 months that if you just go to scroll through it and find the video, you'll be there all day, and it's going to be a ball breaker. You do an exercise, then you're going to stand there for 20 minutes trying to find the next exercise. So what we do is I recommend before you come in here, so when you're about to leave work or about to leave home, on your desktop computer, you search for the exercises and you bump them up to the top of the forum. Okay? Now to do that, and you can only do it on a desktop, you can't do it on an iPhone or an iPad. So on the forum, in the top right hand corner, there's a little search bar. You'll just type in, so I would type in top half seated overhead press. You don't have to type in a full thing, just any part of that exercise. So you'll type that in and then you'll hit enter and then that exercise will come up, that video will come up. Or actually any video with those words in it will come up. So you might get 5 or 6, so you've got to make sure you get the exact one. And then in the comments section of that exercise, you'll just type bump and then hit enter and that'll bump it straight up to the top of the forum. So what we get all the guys to do is before they come into the gym, bump the exercises that you're wanting to train up to the top of the forum. So then bang, you're in here, there they are, they're just there waiting for you. Okay? So you can only do it on the computer. You go to the right top hand corner, you search for it, you bump it up. For a lot of the new guys doing this, you may not have to worry because all the guys that are rejoining will probably have already bumped it up there. Generally, whoever comes in here first on Monday morning is going to be bumping it up for the rest of the whole group for the rest of the week. But that's how you do it. You may want to search for other things. I may have done a little piece on I don't know, carb loading or how to separate good fats from bad fats or something like that. And maybe you saw it on your newsfeed and then you missed it. Just search the engine for it at the top and then you can bump that article back up to the top again. So the forum is really important to track your exercises. It's like essential. Without it, you'll have no idea what you're doing. The forum is also really important just for men to answer day-to-day questions. Now we always say this and we always get the same result. We always say to the guys that the more questions you ask on it, the more I can help you out. So we don't want you to sort of like hide under the radar. And before I know it's week 9 and I'm taking your second last photos and I'm like, wow, you look the same. You go, yeah, I didn't really get how to do this or get how to that. So you've got to ask me on the forum. I think it's no coincidence that generally the top 3 or 5 guys are always the ones that ask the most questions, like anything in life. So if there's something that you're not sure of, make sure you ask. We don't get this issue on the women's forums. They just ask straight away. Like that forum just gets jammed. But we sort of get more like tumbleweeds coming through the guys forum. So if there's something you're not sure of, make sure you ask it. Because it's like that old primary school rule. If you don't know, it's probably going to be another 10 guys on the forum that don't know either. So it helps everyone. Unless it's a particularly personal question, it's probably better just to call me directly. Okay, so you really have to put something down on the forum. Is everyone clear on the forum? They know how to access the Facebook forum. Everyone's on Facebook. There's no issues with the forum. All right. So if I ask that question in the girls' workshop, I would have already got 10 questions. Maybe we just understand better. Okay. Now let's go into how these exercises are going to work. There's a lot of essential basics that I do, and particularly I used to do when I used to do bodybuilding, which most people don't do, and they make a huge, huge difference. The first one is, I say, use filler sets, not warm-up sets, which is really important. Most younger guys, when they come in to do a workout, they'll just grab a weight on whatever it is, that's it, they'll just start shifting it, and which is all right, you've got younger joints, so that's likely to explode a tendon, but it's going to hamper your ability to lift heavy because you haven't warmed up properly. Most of us, as we get a bit older, we just go, no, we're just moving any weight. Fearless sets is about progressing up the range of weights until we start our first exercise. So what happens, an easy example would be, I don't know, say I'm doing a bench press, and you may not have done a bench press for years, or maybe you've never done a bench press ever before. So a fearless set is, first of all, you start with just the bar. Just do the bar and you feel how it is. If I've written down that bench press you need to do 12 reps, then your fearless set you do it with 12 reps. You want to train to the exact amount. It's kind of like doing if you're about to do a 100-metre sprint, there's no point in warming up with 1 kilometre runs or 10-metre sprints. You've got to warm up for 100-metre sprints. This is the other thing that guys do. If they're doing sets that comprise of, I don't know, 8 to 10 reps, they do like warm-ups of 20 to 30 for some reason. So you've got to warm up with the exact reps that you're starting on. Okay, so in this example, I'm starting on 12 reps. So I grab the bar and I do 12. I might feel all right, and then when I'm ready to go again, I might put another 20 kilos on the bar, see how that feels, then another 40, then another 60, and that's my fearless sets. I'm warming up to the point where I think, all right, that last set of 12 I think is probably actually my first set, or else I reckon I can just put another 10 and get my first set done. Okay, so if you do it that way, you should always be able to get your exact weights within one workout. Okay, and you're warming up perfectly before every workout. Fearless sets are very self-regulated. Every day of the week you'll come into the gym differently. You'll have different stresses at work. You may or may not have eaten as well that day or drunk as much water. You may have had a later night the night beforehand. You may even have a bit of a cold that's coming. There could be a variety of reasons that when you come in, your workout's not going to be the exact same as the last, for example, chest workout, doing that bench press. So your fearless sets will be different. You may have gone up to 80 one day and you get up to 70 the other day, which is really no big deal, as long as every day you're lifting at 100%. Alright? So what I'm just trying to get at is I don't want you to just do a generic warm-up set. You've got to feel your way up to your main weight. Okay? Is that clear? So if you're doing squats and we're doing sets of 3 or sets of 2, then you do your fearless sets of 2. Just do 1, 2. That's it. See how that feels, add on another 20. Do 1, 2, see how that feels, add on another 20 until you're right to go. That will give you the best way to get your weights correct and to lift the heaviest possible. The next thing that we do is rest periods. There's a few different ways you can do rest periods. If we were training just for pure strength, like just absolute balls to the wall, had to lift as much as possible, we'd be resting for around 3 to 6 minutes between every set. But your conditioning won't be that good. You'll just get really strong. But it's not about just getting strong. You essentially just want to look good. That's what it's all about. So for this, we want to be a little bit more athletic. So for our rest periods, we're really just auto-regulating them. We're going to see how you feel. So if you're doing an easy exercise, like a barbell curl, that's an easy exercise because it's a very small muscle that you're training. You might be doing sets of, say, 7, do a set of 7, hang about, and you think, I reckon I can do another 7, good, do it, and off you go. So you may have rested for 15 or 20 seconds. All you need to do is rest until you know in your head, I'm pretty sure I'll get it again. But if you're doing a heavy set of, say, deadlifts, where you're pulling your body weight off the floor, and you've just maybe done a set of 3, you just squeezed out your third one, and you step back from the bar, and you're like, oh, I felt like 4 minutes before I can do that again. That's fine. Whatever it takes for you to do that again. Okay? So the basic rule is, if you're ready to go, go. If you're not ready to go, don't go. But your number one goal is to be able to shift that weight the correct amount of reps for your next set. A lot of guys kill their workouts because they just get stuck into these ridiculous time frames that mean nothing, where a trainer says, rest 60 seconds between each exercise. Why? What does that mean? It's not meaning anything. It's not athletic at all. If you're ready to go, go. If you're not ready to go, don't go. Okay? So rest breaks are pretty clear. So that doesn't mean that we want you just sitting around hanging out forever, because some of your rest breaks will be really fast, particularly for smaller body parts. If you do a set of arm curls, for example, again, and you're not ready to go in, say, under 30 seconds, then there's something really wrong with your cardiovascular system. It's such a small muscle. But the bigger the muscles, they will take a little bit more reps. With the grips of the exercise, it's something that we've placed a lot of focus on. Often when guys are training, they don't really know what to do when they're doing a grip. With your power movements, where you're just pulling up on something, so for example, a chin-up or a pull-up is a classic example. We always use the example that you're really trying to break the bar on those grips. The stronger you grip something, you get that central nervous system reaction, that everything around that grip will fire up and become twice as strong. So if I just grip something like that, I'm not going to be strong as if I'm trying to crush that bar as hard as I can. So for things where you're trying to pull your body weight, or pull your body weight really hard, you're not gripping it, you're trying to physically crush the handle. You've got to remember that's really important. It will make such a big difference. Your strength will go up by 10%. Even things like doing a squat. If I'm doing a squat, I'm trying to crush the bar, but I'm also trying to dig my feet, like claw my feet hard into the floor, and you'll pull up harder. You see it if you watch the Olympics, when Olympic weightlifters get ready, they go like this, and they screw their feet hard into the floor, and they shift their grips until everything's locked in tight, and then they pull it up. So they're not just standing like that and then grabbing the bar and pulling up. So for the heavier the lifts, you've got to be rock solid. Not only will you lift more, but it's so much safer for your body. Okay? It's very hard to grip tight and screw your feet tight and not have the body totally braced. Okay? But it's hard not to be braced if you just have a soft grip. Certain other exercises, we do have a soft grip, and mainly for smaller muscle parts like biceps and triceps and shoulder presses. Because on those exercises, I don't want every muscle helping me. I only want to work that one muscle. That's why a lot of guys don't have great arms. Because if you crush it on an arm curl, there's too much shoulders and forearms, and we just want to have it here. So if I was in an arm curl, I'd almost just relax, flop my grip back, and just go like that. So that this smaller dumbbell becomes quite hard, because all I'm using now is just my bicep. But as soon as I grip it hard and really smash it up, it's easy. But I'm using all of my forearm, and I can't help but contract and use my shoulder as well. Okay? So smaller movements, keep a soft grip. Big compound movements, rock hard grip. Does that make sense? We're just trying to remember that. Or if you think down the line, Daniel's talking something about grips, I can't remember what he's saying, then just let me know. Okay? Grips are also really important when it comes to tendonitis. Probably 10% of the guys in here will get some sort of elbow or shoulder problems, which isn't a big deal, it just comes with the territory. But as soon as it starts to come on, let me know, because by altering your grips, I can almost eradicate that immediately. But if you just put up with it, it'll just get worse and worse and worse to the point where we've got to start changing the program around for you. Okay, so the grips are really important. I said training at other gyms, just as a point that if you are, just got to make sure you've got one of these racks that you're doing days at other gyms. We've got some space here, but we've got another rack coming in the next couple of days. You can't train the program without the racks, they're essential. Now the photos we're going to take today, then again on week 6, then on week 9, and then the final ones on week 12. So as I mentioned briefly to start with, the photos are what it's all about. The weeks. This week's photos are really, they just are what they are. We're just seeing you in all your glory. Week 6, we get a little bit of seeing what's happening. We're not going to see much, just a little bit of what's happening. At 6 to 9, a lot's going to start to change. So by week 9, I'm really saying exactly what we need to do to customise further. Okay? If you miss week 6 photos, okay, that's kind of passable, but you cannot miss week 9. If you miss week 9, I don't know what to say to you for the last 3 weeks, so all I'll say is just keep on swapping the phases around. I can't really tell you much else but that. Okay? So week 9 is really essential. There's a few guys in the last challenge who by week 9, they weren't actually going that well, but after we had a chat after their week 9 photos, they really sped up towards the end. Photos are super important. The next thing is Be Cool segment. Be cool in the gym is really important in a program like this where you've got a bunch of guys doing the same exercises essentially on the same days on the same pieces of equipment. So even with the 3 racks and the Smith rack as well, it's still, you're going to have a lot of guys all over the place. So you've got to be able to help each other out and move in and out of machines. If someone's just dominating a spot and they're not going to move, it's not going to work for everyone. The whole gym will just grind to a halt. Plus then you've got the regular gym members going through as well. So you've got to try and be as free-flowing as you can. The other part of the Be Cool is make sure you put everything away after you finish. So every time you finish the exercise, you've got to rack the bars back, put all the plates back, put dumbbells back, because I'm not here and Matt and I aren't here to put stuff away for you guys. So if you've left something out and we have to tell you to put it away, fine, that's once, but if you do it again, then we'll just cancel it and say see you later. We won't give you any money back, we'll just say see you later, because it's just not fair on anyone, the program doesn't work. Okay, so just make sure that whatever you use, you put it back. Okay, now the next one is the support and the results. To get great results, you need a lot of support, and that's a hard one for guys because they don't tend to come for advice and support, as we mentioned on the forum. But the more you do, the better and more awesome your results will be. There's nothing you can ask me that I wouldn't guarantee, and we can fix any issue, whether it's dietary or physical. It's no issue for me. So that's really what you're paying for. You're paying for my knowledge. So if you run through the 12 weeks and you've got issues or whatever and you don't ask for any help or support, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You might as well use me as much as you can. That's what I'm here for. You may come in and train at times that I'm never on shift. I might never see you. So then it's probably worth just sending me a message every now and then, and arranging a time to hook up and have a phone call or something so we can go over things together. Sometimes guys don't know when they need support. If you haven't seen results every couple of weeks, then you probably need some help. So if you look in the mirror and you think, I look the same as they did 2 weeks ago, then I'll probably give me a call and see what's going on. Because you don't want that 2 weeks to turn into 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. If we flip over, we've got a guest star page here. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time. We're lucky actually, we've got both these guys here, isn't it? We'll start with Sam, just at the front. You wouldn't recognise him now because he looks like more like a mountain man now. Sam did really well on the challenge, which is an understatement. And often people say, well, how did Sam do so well, blah, 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 blah. Probably the only thing that Sam did absolutely better than everyone else is that he just did absolutely everything that we told him to do. So Sam runs his own plumbing business, and I think, working on the tools, running your own business, and being able to have all your meals and your stacks all through the day, and come in and do your sessions. Like Sam used to always come and do his big workout before a day of work, and I think you had your apprentices would meet you here in the car park, and then you drive off just so it would work out better. So it really depends on how much you want it. Sam's a really good example of that. If you really want it, it's going to happen. So when guys say to me, I can't have a big day at work, blah, 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 blah. As soon as I hear that, my mind will just shut off. There's no excuse. You can say you either want it or you don't want it. There is an element of this program is that I'm not really here to be your best friend. My sole goal is to get you from looking from week 1 to week 12 the best possible photos. So I'd much rather you say, look, you're finding things difficult and then you can find solutions, but just a flat up, I can't make because of this or that isn't going to get anyone anywhere. Below that we've got George, who just won the last session. George is in you behind you just there, and George is a great example of he lost a whole lot of body fat, but he just thickened up so much of the chest, shoulders, and the arms and the upper back. George, I would say, probably didn't have as natural the genetics that Sam had, but George asked a shitload of questions all the time and made sure he knew everything. So George really changed his physique totally around just purely through the knowledge of the program. Just ask, and that persistence. In that way, both these guys are very similar. They both came in the morning, they both came every single morning, and they both got everything done. If you do everything told, anything, you're really not going to go wrong.
What time are you open in the morning then?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday we open at 6, and Tuesday and Thursday open at 6:30. And in the evenings we close at 9, but we're about to start a access control system, and so that'll extend the hours out to 11 p.m. each night. So if you're in a rush, you've got a couple more hours, and so it's going to open the gym up until 6 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays, so people just got a little bit more room to move. All right. Any questions on before we get into the program? Cool. So, as we said, the first 2 weeks is all shoulders, shoulders, shoulders. With your rest of your body parts mixed around that. So you'll be doing shoulders with a full body, shoulders, full body, shoulders, full body. And then the next phase is back with the rest of the shoulders and the legs and the body part. So you don't want a body part to atrophy, to break down. All you want to do is hit it, let it grow, and then just putting that on maintenance system while you hit the next one. Hit it, let it grow, and then you put that on maintenance system while you hit the next one. Guys get really into, like the first week they're like, oh, I'm not into this, and then by the second week they love the phase, and they always come to me, oh, can we do shoulders for one more week, or can we do back for one more week? I'm like, no, it's not how it works. You've got to move on to that next phase. It's only going to work for 2 weeks. It's a big thing. This will only work for 2 weeks. Okay, so you've only got a really, don't think of this as a 12-week program. Think of this as a whole lot of little 2-week programs. You've got 2 weeks to nail this, and then you will never do it again. Unless there's something chronically like not performing your shoulders, and we have to customise it at the end. But chances are, particularly with this, you'll never do it again. Okay, so you've got this first week, which is really just an orientation. You're going to try to learn what's happening, and then you've got 1 week to smash it out of the park. So, the way these programs work, and this confuses a lot of guys, and they never tell me until I just watch them and I know something's not right. On day 1 shoulders, you're doing exercise A, you do set 1, set 2, set 3, and then you do exercise B, and that's 6 sets, and then you do exercise C, and that's 7 sets. That's pretty easy. Do 1, then do another. That's pretty straightforward. If we go on to day 2, I can turn the page, it's not easy. You've got exercise A1 and exercise A2, then B1, then B2, and then to finish off that workout you've got C1 and C2. So all you need to know is that you do the A's together, B's together, C's together. So exercise A1, A2, the barbell squat and the elevated leg curl, that's essentially just one big long exercise. So you do the barbell squat, don't have a rest, you haven't finished your exercise. Go straight to elevated leg curl, then you have a rest, and then you go back up to your second set of barbell squat, go straight to elevated leg curl, then you have a rest and go straight up to your third set. Okay? So for these ones here, you're not going in a straight line, you're just zigzagging up and down. When you've completed 5 sets of the A1, A2, then you go down to B1, B2. And when you've completed B1, B2, then you go down to C1, C2. And that's how a lot of them work. Some of them will be A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6. Don't have any rest between those 6 exercises until you get back up to your second set. So after you've done the 6th exercise, you haven't done 6 sets, you've just done one really fucking long set. And then you go on to the next one. Okay? And then you might have done, and you go, wow, that was a huge workout. And then you turn the page and it's like B1, B2, B3, B4. So some of the workouts are huge. Some of them are quite quick, you get out of them in like half an hour. So the bigger ones, this is why you don't need to do separate like cardio. Because if you're doing big compound movements and you're moving from one to another, you don't need to do any cardio. Your heart rate will be elevated the entire time. Particularly when you're doing these Olympic style lifts, like we might do like a hang clean 3 times. And as soon as you've done the hang clean, you've got to step over here and do a heavy barbell row 3 times. Then you're going to come over here and do a deadlift 3 times. And then add another 2, and then you can rest. You know, you might need to rest for 10 seconds, you might need to rest for 2 minutes until you move on. So that's what we talk about, athletic conditioning. You've got to really move the body along. If your body's not moving along doing that, then there's just too many calories coming in. Okay. Now, to do shoulders, shoulders, shoulders and not get injuries, we need to mix things up. So that's why we do things called an overhead press from the pins. We do sets of 3, we're doing sets of 1, we're doing over here sets of 2, we're doing different exercises for the shoulders, we're doing more pin work, we're doing full body shoulders, we're doing isolated shoulders. So we do all these different things so that you can keep hitting the shoulders without them getting an overuse injury and developing essentially inflammation and tendinitis. So everything in here is in here for a reason. If I've said it's sets of 1, you're over sets of 1. Sets of 12, you're over sets of 12. Some of the other thing we do is we change the way that you perform the sets. So you have to read the notes carefully. On this exercise A, I said increase the load each set by 5 to 10 kilos. And that's the same for all of these. But then if you go down to, we'll find one here. On day 3, select that you're doing sets of 2. Select the heaviest weight that you can lift twice and use that same weight on all 7 sets. Okay, so you're not always going up in weight. Sometimes you keep it the same weight. And then you're like, well, how do I select the heaviest weight I can do 2 reps? That's right, just do your field sets. Keep going up and up and up and up until you know what it is. And generally it'll be like you just squeeze up 2 and you think, okay, that's probably not a field set, that's probably my first set. Now I've only got 6 sets to go. Okay? So sometimes you're going to go up, sometimes you're not going to go up. The other things with these is the max rep. So you'll notice on the exercise C at the end where we say max rep, generally or always whenever we say max rep, it means that whatever your last weight is, so in this exercise it was a push press. So say for example I was doing a nice easy figure for a trainer to work out, you're doing like a 100 kilo barbell push press, which if you learn it's pretty good. And then for your last set I said reduce the weight by 20%. Okay, so we're going to go down to 80 kilos and then just keep pushing out as many as you can. So that's what those max rep sets are about. A max rep set doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're banging out reps of sets of 20 or 30. It just means that probably you'll get maybe 10. Because you were getting 1s and 3s and now you've dropped it by 20%, maybe you can squeeze out 10 max. Okay? If you can get more than 8 or 10, then your weight previously probably was way too light. Okay? And because you've also got to get it in good technique. We don't want you, like a proper push press, it's a little dip down to the hip, and you jump it up, and you come down like that. So you just think as many as you can like that. You don't want it to look like an ugly shit going all over the place. So you've got to maintain that technique. So that's with that. The next one is ratchet sets, which is the one that confuses everybody. And after you know ratchet sets, you'll pretty know everything. So, exercise C, so you'll do this on Monday when you come in. On your push press, we've got a ratchet set. So a ratchet set, you'll see it's different. Set 1, you're doing 1 rep, and set 2, you're doing 3 reps. Now, that 1 and 2 is basically 1 set. So what it is whenever I have a ratchet set, that means that Daniel wants you to lift a bit extra heavy. Your first set, the 1 rep, is a preparation for your set of 3. Okay? So as it is a barbell push press, it's a pretty heavy bar. So you're going to pick up the bar and you're going to do 1 rep and put the bar down and then just get yourself settled and then you're going to pick it up and do your 3. So that 1 is just to prepare for the 3. If you combine it, if you could do even 4 in a row easy, it's too light. It should be so you do 1 just to prepare and then you just squeeze out the 3. Alright? Any questions about the ratchet sets?
Yeah, I've got one. Like day 2, for example, we've got V1 and V2. Do you do the 1 and 3 and then go down to V2?
Yeah, that's a good question. So with V1, V2, so low incline bench press from supports and the seated row. So what that means is you just got to keep that exact zigzag. So you do set 1 of each. So you do 1 and 3, and you do 3 and 3. Then you do 1 and 3, and then you do 3 and 3. You always keep it in the exact line, zigzagging up and down. And then both of those sets, you're dropping it by 20% and doing your max rep. When you're in here, if you just get confused with the ratchet sets, ask someone who's done it before, who knows, and or ask me on that, and we'll go over it with you again. So on those ratchet sets, that low incline bench press from supports. So 1, 3, 1, 3. That's not 4 sets, okay? So that's really just 2 sets. You do 1, then you do 3, and 1, then you do 3.
And do you rest in between, like on day 1, exercise C, do you rest in between each one, or you just have a few seconds?
Yeah, you rest for that push press on exercise C. You rest as required.
Okay.
Yeah. The main thing is that you've got good technique, okay? Which we can't overemphasize enough in the first couple of weeks. You don't want to get injured. So the program is all about being athletic and looking athletic. You don't just want to get blocky and lumpy. So for that one, you need to be dynamic and accelerate through all your movements. And I mentioned accelerate or explosive everywhere throughout this program. So I use the barbell curl because it's a classic example of guys. If I really want to expand my arms, I'd be locking tight. I've got that soft grip where I'm accelerating through it, and so then I accelerate through it, and I go down. With a lot of guys, eventually you'll see them get to this point where they do what we call grinding sets, and they'll just get stuck, and they're pulling, and it's just get stuck, and they start to grind it. So a grinding set is disastrous for your tendons. Sooner or later, you're going to get some kind of tendon ligament problem, inflammation. Plus, ironically, it's not very good for building the muscle, because you've just smashed it so hard that over the next 72 hours, every calorie you're ingesting is going into repair. And we don't want that. We want it to go straight into growth. Okay? So there's a big difference. So this is one of the main reasons why, particularly like you said, 18 to 20-year-old guys in the gym, they're just smashing it really hard, they end up grinding, just burning it out, and then they just look the same year after year. We don't want to do that. You want to accelerate and explode through the movement. And that's really going to save your body and going to keep you lifting for 12 weeks. If you start grinding everywhere, it's not going to work. So if you're doing a push press, you go, instead of jumping it up like that, you get to there and just got to get through to the top. Then that's not what we want. It's got to go from A to B in one fluid movement. Okay? So you've got to explode through it. That's what we really want. Any questions on like that speed that we want? A lot of guys find that actually quite hard to develop that speed in some of the lifts. It looks easy, but when you're doing if you're doing anything like the hang plan is a good one, but you have to throw it up into here. So you really got to stamp it up to throw it up like that. So a lot of guys just struggle. They move kind of in slow motion. So it takes a little bit of practice in the first couple of weeks to get the hang of that.
Sorry, you reduce the weight if you find that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's the speed, it's the explosiveness, and it's the good technique that gives you the good results. Yeah. So there's no point in just lifting heavy for the sake of lifting heavy. But if you think about it logically, 90% of guys in 90% of gyms in the world lift really heavy, and generally they look the same all the time. If just purely lifting heavy made us look great, then everyone would. So it's not about that. I have guys when I'm at my best who will come up to me and like they might be watching me working out and they'll say, how come you're so much bigger than me when you're lifting half of what I'm lifting? I said, well, it's probably because I'm lifting half of what you're lifting. I'm accelerating through it and I'm feeling it, whereas you're just struggling to try to move a mountain. It's not conducive to building muscle. The same as doing a chest workout for 2 hours is not conducive to building your chest. You've got to get in and out nice and fast. With some of these workouts, like when I do PT sessions with guys through this, I take them through this shoulder workout, we finish in like 30, 35 minutes, and they walk out and they're like, I feel fine. And they say it like something's wrong with them. But you don't want to walk out feeling broken. You should feel fine. Because you've got like another 4 workouts to do that week. And they're just going to get bigger and bigger. Okay? So if you're feeling wrecked after every workout, then it's not going to last. I might just quickly, before we move on from the workouts with Sam and George, like, because you've done a lot of them yourselves, is there anything that you found, like advice-wise, that you found with your workouts? Just put you on the spot there.
No, that's all right. I think the thing is that it's a mental game as well, and to basically just be consistent and do what you say. I think if you come in first thing in the morning, just get it done, there's no excuses, and just do it, and don't linger in the gym. So put, if it's 45 minutes, go in, do it 45 minutes, and just walk out and make sure that you're consistently moving. That was my experience anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Do it for yourself. Don't worry about the competition side of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it for yourself, and if you're going to get a result anyway. But when I did it the second time, I didn't want to win, I'll tell you, honest. But
I didn't even think of it.
Win,
I didn't
do it
know.
for yourself,
Seriously.
and you get the results.
Yeah.
Because if you concentrate too much on the competition, I reckon it sort of lead away from your body and what you're doing for yourself.
And a lot of guys say that. It's not about competing against each other or overall. But guys being guys, that's naturally.
You mentioned not competitiveness.
You just can't help it, yeah. And particularly guys, if you come in with 2 or 3 mates and you train together, you end up competing against each other, which is just disastrous. Because we've all got natural strengths and benefits. Some of you will be good at cleans and presses. Some of you are naturally going to be better at chest. So if you're training with a mate and he's naturally genetically better at training chest than you, and you're busting your ass to try and match him or beat him, it's not serving your purpose. You're going to be grinding, you're not going to be doing good technique. You've got to do what's good for you. It's good to train with mates because it helps push you along, but only if it's positive. You're pushing them along for what they can do for 100%. You're not trying to get them to do what you can do at 100%.
And another thing I found, the grip, I found the grip really important.
Yeah.
Like even when I'm having training here, I've gone somewhere else,
Yeah.
with the grip is amazing what it does for you in your exercise. The grip I think is really important.
Yeah.
Gripping the bar the right way and holding the bar the right way.
Yeah.
Dan, the other thing that I found was very important was because I was quite unfit and very weak through my core when I first started, was actually concentrating on doing the exercises with the right technique and really drawing in through the stomach and making sure that the core was strong.
Yeah.
Because that really helped me to lift the weights.
Definitely.
And
That's
even
a great
incorporating
point.
at the end just a couple of planks for the first couple of weeks just to strengthen the back.
Yeah.
That's what I found.
It's that I was saying that we're only as strong as our weakest link, and generally most guys, the weakest link is straight through here. So whether it's a simple arm curl or it's a hard clean and press, if something's going to give way, unless you've got a joint problem, like you've really done something wrong, it's going to be right through the centre. So you just got to make, the easiest way to get a strong core is whenever you're about to do a lift, just get your belly button, and drill it into your lower back and hold it in there. So you're kind of keeping your breath sucked in fairly tight. When you're doing heavy lifts, you're not really just breathing, it's sucked in pretty tight. So, and you'll just feel it by sitting there. As soon as you're sucking tight, it just makes you more stable. If I relax my core, I can go like that. But if I pull it really tight, it's quite hard to move around that much whilst keeping it tight. So you can see that if I was going to lift under load and it was sucked in tight, I'd be much less likely to tip to the side or fall to the back. So if I'm doing like a heavier squat, as I'm coming up, I'm really, you might hear with Olympic athletes when they come out and they make that noise as they're coming out of the lifts because they're breathing more air out to suck it in really tight. So it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And it's only when you get to the top that I relax. So you get quite out of breath when you do it. Just got to practice that because if you do it really hard and you haven't done it before, then you're likely to faint. So we've been reading, but yeah, that's your transverse abs, or what we call the TA. So keeping that tight makes a big difference. And if you do that, I always say to guys, you don't really need to do abdominal exercises. If you do big movements, you eat well, and keep it sucked in tight during the big movements, you have pretty good abs. You don't need to do like sit-ups or anything like that. Okay, so we're going to go through the food now. I've had a bit of a spiel here on carbs and proteins. But what I might do is skip over all that stuff and go on to the meal plan and just explain it as part of the meal plan. So it should be your second last page if I've got everyone's correct. So with the meal plan, this is written by, this is the first time we've had him do it. So normally I write it, and I'm pretty good, but this guy's really good. His name's Terry Martinez, and he's the former natural Mr. Australia, Mr. America, Mr. You name the Mr. and he's won it. He's pretty amazing. He's about 55 now, but he still looks ridiculous. He's amazing. Terry's written up this program for you guys, and it's all based on the appropriate amount of calories for the average male to build muscle and to lose body fat, and spreading your 3 core macronutrients over the day. The 3 core macronutrients are good fats, proteins, and whole carbohydrates. Okay, so the carbs, fats, proteins, that's what's important. Now if you forget about the supplements for the moment, your breakfast is a 4-to-1 egg white omelette. So that's 4 egg whites to 1 complete egg. So that's your good fats and your protein. And then with your whole carbs, you've got chopped tomato, capsicum and onion. Now everything that he puts in there is for a reason. He's putting capsicum so it really elevates your metabolic rate, so it burns more calories. So everything is there for a purpose. Okay, so you don't think, no, I don't really like that, I might just have broccoli. You've got to try to stick to it as close as you can. If for some reason that you can't do that, then you'd have to let me know and I'd give you a replacement. But they're the main ones to try to stick to. These, before I go into it even deeper, eating well is all about meal preparation. So I chop up the tomato, capsicum and onion, put that in Tupperware containers and have that ready to go for the week. I don't have to do that in the morning. In the morning all I've got to do is make my eggs, chuck in the pre-chopped stuff, whip it up and off we go. And that's it. If you really want, you don't even have to do the egg whites. You can just go to the freezer section of your supermarket and buy a packet of egg whites and use that. Same thing, and then put in one complete egg with it. But 4 egg whites and an egg, it's like pretty fast. So if you prep the tomato, capsicum and onion, that's still only going to take you like 10 minutes to whip up that breakfast.
It's a whole onion and capsicum, all right? Is it?
No, just like a quarter of an onion, something like that. Yeah. Certain things in here we don't really measure like that, because it's kind of like, it's really up to your flavour and what you like. But things that, if they matter, then I've given you a measurement next to it. But that one doesn't really matter so much. After that breakfast, you've got 3 snacks. Now this is about your macronutrients.
So that's the same breakfast every day for 5 days?
Yep. Oh, it's 7. Yeah. I've just written it out for 5 days. Yeah. This is a really important point actually. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want that, I want to have variety and this and that. And if there's some food that you're just like, you're philosophically against having more of that food, then let me know. But otherwise, you'll get the best results by locking the same thing and doing it over and over. So when people say, if I get a new PT client and they want to lose weight, and they say, oh, I like some variety because I saw it on this, like on Facebook, got all these things and this great book about sugar-free diet and on current affairs and all this, that's just bullshit. Okay? To get the best results, you lock and load and you keep doing the same thing. Okay? I'm doing you a disservice by giving you a whole lot of variation. It'll do your head in, you're going to try to prep and cook multiple things, and it's not what it's about. It's not really meant to be fun. It's just meant to get really good results over the 12 weeks. It's a big difference. Okay? It also teaches a good lesson that after 12 weeks you can take with you. You can start mixing it up, and we're going to do a maintenance phase after this 12 weeks, and I can show you how to spread it out into your long-term lifestyle. But this one for 12 weeks, you're just going to lock and load. Try not to change it as much as you can. There's nothing wrong with having a cheat day 1 day a week, or if you go out for breakfast or something, or you go out for dinner, that's fine. In the first 10 weeks, that's not going to make any difference. But 6 out of your 7 days, you'll lock and load this down. So on those 3 snacks, you have these around an hour and a half apart. The reason you're having those 3 little tiny snacks is to keep your metabolic rate up. Just keep burning calories. And also so you don't get hungry, because you just eat. You will get hungry yourself, because most of you probably overeat. So, but after a week or 2, you'll get used to that. Now, these 3 snacks, we've got the raw nuts. That's there because of your macro good fats. You've got the brown rice, that's there because of your macro whole carbs. You've got your shake, that's because of your macro protein. So you have to have all 3. Why do you have them separately? It's because we know now that you digest them 100% more efficiently than if you combine all 3 together. So all bodybuilders don't mix their foods. You have your fat food, you have your meat food, you have your carb food. So I do the same thing myself. I have like 500 grams of chicken for lunch. I have 750 grams of broccoli for dinner. It's always the same. I always split up the macros. It's really easy. My brain can just go neutral. I just know exactly what I do. This is really easy for your shopping list too. On Sunday afternoon, you know you need your eggs, tomato, capsicum and onion, you need your nuts and then your rice, you need your meat for there, veggies for there, it's done. It's the same shit every week, you know.
12 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So someone what are you going to be eating for lunch in 32 days? Oh, I'm going to be having tuna, some nuts and a shake. Done. How'd you know that? What's the same? It was the same 28 days ago. It's always the same as you go along. Okay. Then you go on to lunch. Now the other good thing that here, particularly when we come to your main meals, so lunch and dinner, you've got 150 grams of meat with 250 grams of mixed vegetables. If I get to your week 6 and 9 photos, and we think something needs to change, it's so easy for me. Because then I can just say, oh, such and such, you just need to change that to 200 grams, or we're going to drop that down to 150 grams. It's so easy. changing the body becomes like that. Often, like my body can fluctuate up and down quite a lot if I put my mind to it. People say, oh, what have you been up to with that? It's easy. I just change my macros. I can go from 500 grams of chicken to a kilo of chicken for that day. It's going to make a huge difference to my muscle. I can go from having 750 grams of carbs down to 500. Bang, I'll lose 3 kilos in a couple of weeks. I don't need to count calories or anything, just change the grams. It's so easy. It's also easy for you with the meat. So you go, well, how much is 150 grams of say, chicken breast? Well, that's easy. Just go to Coles and buy 300 grams of chicken or whatever and just cut it in half, 150. Like, you don't have to weigh your foods or anything like that. If you're having 250 grams of mixed vegetables, well, you can just go to Coles and buy 500 grams of mixed vegetables and have half a bag. Easy. Done.
Doesn't matter what vegetables?
For the mixed veggies, no, not really. Just get a bag of mixed veggies. It's okay.
And the 150 grams, that's 150 grams of fish or chicken or both? 150, 150.
Fish, chicken and meat.
So that's round dress.
As a total, 150 as a total, yeah?
150 is the total, yeah. Don't have 50 of each, just pick 150 of
Only
one.
50 grams of each, and mix it.
So it's on a chicken or fish, basically, yeah?
Yeah. It's not like a meat platter. It's Alright. And then after lunch we're going to have 4 snacks. 100 grams of blueberries, that's for your whole carbs. Tuna, that's for your protein. Nuts, that's for your protein, that's for your good fats. And then the ISO shake, that's for your protein. Now, if your workout is, for example, in the morning, and you have to have a protein shake after your workout, that's a given. That's not written in here, but that's just a given. You have to have it. Well, you'll take that snack out and use it as your protein. You won't double up on it. If your workout's around the afternoon somewhere, then snack 7, that shake, you'll have that straight after your workout. Okay? So you're not going to be having like...
So don't double up on the shake, just have one shake, just have it after your workout.
Exactly, yeah. If you work out later on in the evening, then that snack in the evening, that protein there, that's when you'll use it there after your workout. So you should only be having the 1, 2, 3 hits of that protein powder a day. So you just accommodate it into where your workout is. Okay? So your subs...
So one of those 3s needs to be after your workout.
Exactly, yeah.
The other 2, it doesn't matter.
Yes,
Yeah. So, for example, I always work out in the afternoon. So I would have that shake there, snack 7, and then I have this one here with my yogurt before I go to bed. So we'll get onto that one now. Actually, and just before we get onto that, 350 grams of veggies and 200 grams of meat at night. Half a cup of brown rice, like half a cup, not 3/4, not a cup, half a cup. Because that shit really throws it out if I'm trying to work out why you haven't dropped weight or whatever. It's got to be half a cup. And then before you go to bed, yogurt of choice, I usually just get the Yana full-fat Greek yogurt. Yeah, full-fat yogurt because lower sugar and less chemicals and hormones and crap that's been put into it. Okay. The irony of the whole low-fat thing is that it's just not healthy for you. High in sugar, higher in crap. There used to be a thing going on Facebook to say that low sugar means chemical shitstorm or something like that. They said it better than that. But anyway, that didn't really roll off the tongue at all. But you get the gist of it. We don't want to go low fat. You want to go full fat. You want to eat, and this is the whole paleo diet that you've probably heard about. You want to eat as close to food as it's meant to be. Okay? So particularly with yogurt, just go full fat. So, for generations, our parents have been eating full fat and they haven't had any weight issues. Grandparents and grandparents. It's only when we have all these low fats and high sugars and high produced foods that things start to go a little bit awry. That yogurt before you go to bed, you're having that because it's going to get your metabolic rate up. Because whenever you digest food, it gets your metabolic rate up, burns calories. That's why you've got so many small meals. So every time you do one of these foods, it's like having exercise. I'm going to have a little jog here, I'm doing a few push-ups here, I'm doing a few squats here. That's what's happening every time you have a little bit of a meal. You get your metabolic rate up. Guys tend to usually skip breakfast, have a huge fucking gap, eat some lunch, have a big gap, have some dinner. It doesn't matter what's happening, how good their dinner and lunch is, they still put on weight or not lose it because their metabolic rate is sluggish. You've got to get that engine firing the whole way through the day. So that's why that yogurt, you eat it right before you go to bed. Okay? because you're not going to eat for 6, 7, 8 hours. So you want to give your body a good chance to keep that metabolic rate up. There's 3 reasons why we have that meal. One is to burn fat, keep your metabolic rate up. The second one is all the great bacteria that's in the yogurt, which is good for your gut health. You want to try to digest so many supplements and proteins throughout the day, but if you don't have an efficient gut working, you're not going to digest it. So if you had 100 grams of beef and I had the exact same 100 grams of beef, I might be able to digest 50 grams of protein, you might be able to digest 15 grams of protein. It depends on the quality of our gut health. Okay? So that's why you have the yogurt, particularly the Greek yogurt, before you go to bed. Really, really important. I usually get because I've got a chocolate thing, I usually get the chocolate ISO 100 powder and I whip that into it. So it's like having an amazing chocolate mousse before I go to bed. It's like delicious. And it really actually just saves any sugar cravings you have. You start to really look forward to that. So you whip the powder into your yogurt and that's it. Some of the girls freeze their yogurt and then take it after 2 hours and they have like ice cream before they go to bed. You can do that too if you want. Alright, and lots and lots of water. The fastest way to drop water, and you see this on Biggest Loser all the time. They drop 12 kilos in the first week. That's because they drink a lot of water. The more water that comes in, the less your body has to store, because most people in the Western world walk around partly dehydrated, which is an irony. And so the more water you drink, the more your body will flush out. So you'll be going to the toilet non-stop for a week or so. But after that, you can only flush out so much before you pretty much detox, and you won't need to keep going to the toilet, but you keep on drinking water. So particularly if you want to get lean fast, drink a lot of water. All right? So we've written down here 2 litres plus. So 2 litres is your minimum. And I can tell from people's photos, particularly for the week 6 photos, if people, it doesn't matter how much body fat they've lost, if they still look that softness over the top around here, around the upper back and upper chest, they really don't drink much water. If you want to look hard, you drink a lot of water. It's the quickest way to look hard. Before I go into the subs, any questions about the food?
Yeah, it says day 1 to 5. Weekends just continue on?
Yeah, weekends continue on, but if you have one cheat day, so plan your cheat day around something that's happening so your lifestyle's not totally compromised. So if it's my daughter's birthday on Wednesday night, then I'm going to make that my cheat day and I'll have a pretty good weekend. If I'm catching up with a few mates on Friday night, I'll make that my cheat day. I'm going out to a friend's house for a barbecue on Sunday afternoon, I'd make that my cheat day. So you just got to strategically plan it around it. If you have more than 2 cheat days a week, it's not a cheat day, it's just your week. So you're going to make sure 1 cheat day a week.
Let's say you're going out, let's say you have to, can you have the breakfast, lunch, the snacks?
Yeah, a cheat day, it's really a cheat meal. Like if you have a cheat day, you're going to write it off. But it's really a cheat meal, so it's a cheat wherever I'm going. So if I'm going to a birthday or whatever, it's that. But for the bulk of the day, you still stick to the plan. And you always have the subs. You don't take a day off of the subs, no matter what. Okay? So let's go on the supplements at the moment. We've changed this a lot from the way we used to do it. We used to have a lot more, and we used to take what's called stacks of subs, various mixed ingredients, which are very effective, but it's very hard, very labour intensive, and it's really expensive as well. And we found that guys weren't doing it just because it costs so much. So now we've made it this way, which is cheaper, but as Terry said, it's going to be just as effective. When you wake up in the morning, you have glutamine and BCAAs, branched chain amino acids. You have 2 teaspoons of the glutamine powder and 1 teaspoon of the BCAA powder. Put them together in a glass of water, mix them up, and then wash it down with a 2nd glass of water. So 2 glasses of water. That's when you wake up, and then you make your breakfast, have your breakfast. You've got your shake down there. Sometimes you'll have that after your workout. Come around midday, 12 o'clock, you're going to have the same thing. Glutamine BCAAs again. Late afternoon, glutamine BCAAs again. So it doesn't happen by chance. Really try to lock it in as much as you can. So you can schedule, you can do it into your phone, so your phone sounds an alarm. It could be at 5 a.m, 12 noon, and 5 p.m. It's locked in. That alarm always goes off, and so you have it. So generally, you also got to carry your supplements around with you. You may not be carrying big tubs of BCAAs, but put a smaller amount in like a Tupperware container, so you've got it around, and you've got like a shaker bottle, so you just put them in there and off you go. most guys get supplements totally wrong. They'll have a heap after their workout, maybe a random heap somewhere else in the day, and that's about it. But supplements, this way, it's all about recovery. It's not even, the prime objective for these supplements isn't even about muscle growth, it's about recovery. As we get older, you're going to need it even more. It's a pretty hard, tough 12-week program. And if you want to stave off the injuries and recover faster, you're going to need drip-fed BCAAs, which are the building blocks of protein, and protein running through your system constantly. Because they only stay in your system for a little bit. So there are only guys that like super low, like there's some guy who buys all the straight shit and just shoves it in after workout, before workout. It's going to be gone in half an hour. So he's just wasted all his money on that. So you have small amounts, we're only talking teaspoons, throughout the day. So not only for recovery, but the glutamine is also really good for your immune system. So I find I very rarely get colds or flus or pick anything off the kids because I supplement glutamine constantly throughout the day. So glutamine is really potent. So it's about recovery, feeling your best, and that's why you have the protein shakes throughout the day as well. If you look at that, so you have glutamine BCAAs, protein, glutamine BCAAs, protein, glutamine BCAAs, protein. You can see how much guys just under-supplement. And then, but they supplement with a whole lot of other shit that's not even like, they get all this NO explode and bullshit, which isn't even proven to work. This is just what works, and it's just the basics that you're going to stick to. It's nothing fancy, just the basics that works. The only other supplements that's not in here that you're going to have is your Expand, which is your pre-workout, which is going to give you a good kick in the ass before you do your workout and burn a few more calories. You're going to have that 30 minutes before your workout. And you'll just follow instructions on the label of that. Okay, so if we flip over here, so you've got your supplement order form. So you've got your protein, which I would just get the gourmet chocolate, but you can get whatever you want. You've got the glutamine powder and the BCAAs, they don't come in flavour, so you just get that. And you get the Expand, which generally people like the raspberry lemonade, you can get whatever you want. And that's it. So what you do today, or by Tuesday, you need to mark off what you want and fill in the payment section, and Nat and I will order them on Tuesday afternoon and we'll get them on Friday afternoon. Okay? So then we'll have them all packaged up in here, and then when you come in to do your workout, you just pick them up from us in the office. Alright? Any questions about the subs?
So do we start this on Monday or the following Monday?
This Monday, yeah. So
You're
the first week...
You're not going to have any of the supplements?
Not for the first week, no. Oh, not for the first few days anyway, yeah. But it's a 12-week program. Yeah.
Sorry, when you order this for the whole program, or you just reorder it as you need?
You'll reorder as you need. The glutamine, BCAAs and Expand should last you for the bulk of the program. The protein we've deliberately given a smaller size because, and you can do a bigger size if you really want, but we've done the smaller size because of two reasons. One, you might just hate it. You might pick a flavour that you just can't digest. And two, it may just not react well with you. And then you're stuck with like a 5 kilo ton of powder. So I think the smaller size is a smart choice to start with. And if you really like that, they are pretty amazing, but if you really like that, then on your second one you might get a bigger one, something like that. Yeah.
I still got the C4 left, don't I? Use that.
Yeah. Instead of the Expand, yeah.
How much water do you have with the Expand?
With the Expand, I'd have about 750 mils.
And you have to have that before you work out 30 minutes? Or...
I'd have about half of it 30 minutes before, and then the other half of it when I start my workout. Yeah.
You work out first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
You have the Expand.
Yeah.
You have breakfast after the workout.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So when you the Expand will really come into its own first thing in the morning when you don't have much
So
energy.
if you have that in the morning,
So-
go do your workout, have
Yeah.
the protein shake after the workout, and then have breakfast.
Well, you won't. Yeah, you would need to, because the shake, you're having the shake in powder form, because you can ingest it, it'll hit the bloodstream immediately, and then even though you're eating breakfast immediately after that, you've got to remember those foods like that egg, that's not going to digest for another 3 to 5 hours. So people think, I should have this straight after that, but you're not really. One's going to go in immediately, and one's going to take a while to break down. Yeah. If you're working out early in the morning, you've got the Expand, but that may not be enough before, you might just be too hungry, like you feel like you're going to throw up during a session. So if you can have the brekkie before, if you've got the time, have it. Yeah.
Is that preferred?
Yeah.
In your opinion?
Because it's just onion, capsicum, and egg. So it's not anything that's going to like be laying down in the guts. You should be fine. And you're not doing sprinting or anything. You're just lifting weights. So if you could get that down first, that would be an idea. Yeah. If you're really struggling and you think, I just cannot eat, and I got to do the workout, you just have a banana and you expand. Yeah. That would be the only fruit that you'd have apart from I think there's a snack of blueberries in there. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thoughts on cardio? Like,
What's the what?
cardio?
You always ask about cardio, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, so what's your question? How's it again?
I remember last time you saying they've got, you was just saying before, you're walking around the gym, so you might be A1, A2, A3.
Yeah,
So that's like good level of cardio.
Yeah.
And then I think someone said, if you do cardio, it like works against what you've been doing in the gym.
Yeah, it's all about having an efficient calorie balance. So if you like to go for a run regularly, well, you're burning off calories that otherwise is going to go into recovering muscle. So it's just the basics of it. So that's why people that have split training, like you'll get guys that they like to hit the gym once or twice a week and they want to build muscle, but they really like playing footy once a week and they also play tennis once a week. Like, that's great, that's good for their lives, but they're not going to build muscle. It's the same as the diet. If you want to change your body, you do the same shit and you just stick it all the way through. You basically do weights and then do a little bit more weights and do a little bit more weights and you eat the same all the way through. That's what gives the best results. So I would advise against extracurricular activities. If you really want to do it, well, you've got to do it. But we may need to look at your 6-week photos to see how that's going to...
What about sex, Daniel? Right, sex?
Yeah, I think that's okay. I didn't write that down. You can put that... you can have that every second phase for you, Johnny. Once every 3 weeks.
That'll be a bonus.
What? How much?
So that's what we do. You said it.
Go and order 3 quarters. But order extra pound.
30, 60 minutes without doing that at a time. Yeah, it's like 100% that's that would affect, sort of what should be eating more overall.
Yeah, on those days, so which day is that?
Tuesday.
So the day before you play futsal, or the day of futsal, so I can tell you right now if I'm just looking at you, that snack 4, have half a cup of brown rice then as well. So you have 2 half cups of brown rice on that day.
On the day that he's playing futsal?
Yeah.
So is that what means basketball?
No. So if anyone's specific adjustments, I'll let you know. But for you, just looking at you, that's what you'll do. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Photo time. Let's go, guys.